So welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined by Adrian, who is the CEO of Ripple. So welcome, Adrian. Why don't you start by telling us like a little bit about Ripple and what you guys do and who you serve.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for inviting me. So Ripple is an AI sustainability platform that helps reduce costs and save time for corporates gathering, managing, and disclosing sustainability data.
Okay, awesome. And what sort of led to the creation of Ripple?
So when I was at a previous employer, I was tasked with talking to a lot of their corporate customers regarding sustainability data. And whilst I was discussing this with those customers, it transpired that they had a huge burden in accessing disparate sources of data, be it in an internal repository, a supplier's repository, say from an expense system, and connecting to those systems themselves. It could be in the format of invoice material coming from some of their suppliers. It could be utility bills or any other kind of documentation, a PDF document, for example. And they had to aggregate all of this data, and then typically they stored it in spreadsheets, and then from those spreadsheets create disclosures subject to what requirements were coming in, be it from a customer who wanted a subset of data for their own requirements, or an investor who needed some data for whatever regulatory report they had to adhere to, or even an audit company coming in to see various data points. And that was the challenge they had in getting the data in, organizing and orchestrating that data centrally, and then disclosing that data to the various demands that were coming in. And we automate across all three of those areas, which slashes the time and cost for the customers that we deal with.
Got it. Okay. And so sustainability is quite I guess it's a niche industry. Like, do you have a personal interest, or is there a story there from the past?
I used to work in a sustainability function in a previous role, and my background is technology focused. And whilst in that sustainability role, I was looking at data and how data can inform improvements both in sustainability but also operational efficiency. And the combination of the two is how we've distilled this product, because yes, it handles and it simplifies the data, sustainability data in an organization and their ability to disclose that data, but it also drives operational efficiency for those organizations, which means that they don't have to apply an army of people to ingest, manage, and disclose that data, that the system can automate a lot of that activity so that they can then focus those key staff members on doing more important activities such as audit, because a lot of this is manual data crunching, and that's where the AI can really help those customers.
Okay. And so how are you guys using AI? Is there any particular feature or use case where AI is really, really solving a massive problem?
We use Gen AI to automate, as I mentioned, those three areas, but the ability, or certainly with our prompting architecture around the Gen AI agents, means that we can ingest any format of data, whether it is from an API link to an internal system or an external system, or through an OCR read PDF that maybe is covered in coffee stains, in any language across the globe. We're in 31 countries at the moment, and it can process that data within seconds. The relevant calculations, whether it's carbon or any other aspect that's required within the organization, and then process that on the other side. So if a request comes in through email for data from a particular customer, it can understand, comprehend exactly what's needed, pre-populate that. And then obviously you need to keep a human in the loop with AI. So we have touch points with the customer, say, this is where we think the data request has been satisfied. You then just quickly check it and it can send out. And equally on the ingestion, we've taken this data in. This is the subsequent calculations. You then click OK on that. And equally, if there's an error in any incoming data, we use AI agents to then validate that data, and before it even gets ingested, re-request any errors, which means rework is reduced to a minimum for companies.
Okay, very nice. And so then speaking about AI, Adrian, like where do you feel as though the industry is trending towards, I guess, both with AI and sustainability?
So, I mean, AI is a very fast moving sector, as everybody will know. I mean, every day there are new models released, there are new use cases for those models, and I think the operational efficiency and the ability to reduce costs for companies is something which I think AI is going to revolutionize. And for sustainability, the area that we are focusing on is reducing the burden on companies to be sustainable. So historically, there's a lot of work involved. The EU has recently, I'm sure people are familiar with the Omnibus, EU Omnibus, which is trying to simplify some of the requirements from a legislative perspective. And that's helping a lot of companies to lower their burden. But equally, if you apply AI to these situations, what you enable companies to do is engage in that sustainability agenda and become part of the narrative so that they can be sustainable, but it doesn't necessarily have to have the cost and time burden associated with it. I think that's where AI will play a role in sustainability.
Okay. And so let's say there is a founder or a business owner listening and they want to move to a more sustainable future. What do you feel like is the biggest misconception that most people have about becoming more sustainable?
I think misconceptions potentially are around the burden or the amount of effort needed to be open about your sustainability journey and your data that you internally may have. And equally, the data that you internally have could yield opportunities for you to promote your business. So there could be things you're doing within your business that you could leverage using, say, AI to assist you in generating the narrative that will help you engage with future customers or expand your business in a sustainability space.
Okay. So then, Adrian, bringing it back to Ripple for a second, what do you think have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in building Ripple?
I think, as with any startup, there are always huge challenges. I think engaging customers with the understanding that actually sustainability doesn't have to be an overhead or a burden. It can actually improve data insights in your business and can help you with opportunity identification. Once the data is in, you have the ability to analyze that and then be able to identify those opportunities. And equally, the lowering of the overheads from an effort perspective means that you can then focus staff and resources on becoming more sustainable yourself. And that in itself is an asset to promote your business more broadly.
Okay. And you're finding communicating that has been a challenge, or that's been something that people have gotten pretty easily?
I think there's a lot of competition out there as well. So a lot of people are looking to engage on the sustainability narrative, and it's helping organizations understand that they can also reduce costs and time at the same time as engaging in the sustainability narrative. That's the challenge, getting that message across. And that's where we're still pushing hard to educate our potential customers and show them the real value. And value is key because engaging companies in this sustainability agenda is critical in showing them the value that can be generated for their businesses in parallel to being sustainable. And that's what we can do.
Right. Makes sense. Okay. And then who do you typically serve the best? Like, who is the customer that gets the best results with Ripple?
So a lot of our customers are large mid-cap companies who have located in multiple countries or have a large volume of disparate data sources to ingest, whether they're spreadsheets or invoices or PDFs or expense management systems or other HR systems or even ERP systems. And then they have typically disparate locations to store that data internally. And they probably have a lot of customers that are asking them for specific data questionnaires or contributing to CDP questionnaires, or investors who need certain data sets for their own purposes. And they have an army of people responding to those. Those are the typical customers. And equally, because we're able to process data coming into the organization, we can also optimize standard business processes like accounts payable, for example, which drives a parallel benefit for our customers. So any customers that have large invoicing, both from an accounting perspective, but also from procured goods, they're a very good use case for Ripple because it really drives costs and efficiencies for them.
Okay. And how are you acquiring these customers? Like, how do they know that you exist?
So we're on the platform itself. There is an ability to connect to other organizations in your value chain, and it simplifies their processes at the same time. So there's a value for customers, and it's a value for the customers and suppliers of those customers as well. So that is helpful, certainly, in engaging people in the benefits available. And we get a lot of referrals from our customers to their suppliers. But it's also just engaging with networked companies that we're familiar with, that we work with, and recommendations from our clients. Those are the big areas that we're driving at the moment. And the key focus point for us is to demonstrate the value and quantify the value that we're driving for our customers, and then leveraging that in conversations.
Okay. So mostly referrals and network and partners. Have you guys tried anything else like outreach, content, or anything like this?
Yeah, we're engaging now on various channels around engaging different market sectors, content development. We have our CMO is very busy with his go-to-market strategy from a content perspective, and we're looking at acquisition of potential new customers. But it's essentially making sure that then we have content and the narrative regarding that value that we drive from a cost and efficiency perspective to demonstrate to them. And that's what we're busy creating at the moment to then take that to market.
Okay. And so does that mean that this year there are some big initiatives that are coming?
Yeah, I think our products with great feedback, and our customers are hugely engaged, and because they see the value and they're giving us a lot of feedback, and the product is pivoting. We're adding more and more features, more and more automation to drive cost. And at that point, we hope it's going to be a moment or a pivot where this already seen with some of our customers is really going to catalyze growth in our business and benefits for our customers and future customers.
Okay, got it. And a question I really like to ask, Adrian, is, so let's say that you had a magic wand that you could wave over one big problem at Ripple and you could solve it just like that. What would that big problem be and why?
Very good question. A magic wand. I would say that ensuring that the value that our customers need in the product was quickly, or we had the ability to identify that and deliver that very quickly to satisfy their demand. Because I think that is what is going to engage companies across industry verticals in the sustainability agenda. And the question around lessening some of the regulations in the EU, some people are saying, well, I don't need to be sustainable anymore. But that isn't actually the case from all of the information that's out there. People still want to be sustainable. People are still asking for that data. So I think it's ensuring that value is demonstratable in the customer base to enable them to then get on board and engage in the sustainability narrative. I think that's the critical element.
Okay. Yeah, really good insights. Increase the perceived value and get the time to value shorter, essentially.
It's getting that feedback from the customer and then quickly implementing the solutions that drive the biggest value for those customers.
Perfect. Okay. And then finally, Adrian, if you could go back and you could start again with Ripple, what are some things that you might change now that you have the gift of hindsight?
Very good questions, Jordan. If I had a crystal ball and could look back, I think I would engage more quickly with generative AI. I would structure my team to focus more on the prompting architecture and the validation architecture for each Gen AI agent, so that any compound errors that were coming through from our platform were picked up earlier, because we've done a lot of rework and our system is very robust now. But in the early days, there was a lot of work in improving those agents. And now we're in a case where we had a team of developers, which we've now pivoted more to data science and prompt architects to ensure that we get the maximum value out of Gen AI. I think that's where we would have liked to have been, and now certainly looking forward, that's where we're putting in our capabilities at the moment to ensure that with all of the advents of different models, and we are model agnostic, that we can maximize that opportunity to drive the biggest cost and time value for our customers.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. There were a lot of people who were very slow to adopt Gen AI, and I think they're kicking themselves now.
It's moving fast, which is the challenge.
Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I feel this like overwhelming anxiety almost every day that I'm not aware of enough of the AI and I'm not taking advantage of it enough. And I speak to a lot of founders every day and they say something similar. They're just like, running around.
We have a regular checkpoint every week to say, what are we seeing in the Gen AI space? How can this help our customers? And that's an operational meeting that we have every week. Sit down, where is the future going and how can this help our customers? That's a critical element. And businesses should adopt.
I like that.
Generally.
I like that. That's some very good advice. Anybody listening, I think that's a great idea. Awesome. Well, Adrian, if people are listening and they want to check you guys and Ripple out, where can they go and how can they connect with you maybe?
Come to our website or contact me directly. I don't know if Jordan, you're going to share my details, but more than happy to engage with people.
Yeah, I will link everything in the description. So highly encourage everybody listening to go and check out Adrian and the team at Ripple. But thank you very much for your time and your insights today, Adrian. And thank you guys very much for watching. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Thanks, Jordan.